I got to get to my girl Cynthia last but not least because boy, oh boy, oh boy. Boy, did I get taken by Cynthia. I was really rooting for Cynthia. Cynthia was a curveball. Remember, she came in second, so she definitely lived up to that. She ended up being the biggest curveball of all. She got me. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Cynthia got me because I was 2 feet in on Cynthia. I was all the way in on Cynthia, singing her praises, just giving her kudos, snaps, get it, girl. I was even picking up a few tips from Cynthia. But let me tell you, Cynthia got game, and I really should have seen it. I started to see it towards the end, but I'm going to tell you, I was so far in with Cynthia, I think I couldn't back myself out. And I just kept giving her more and more benefit of the doubt. But there were lots of scenes where I realized Cynthia is a big finesser. She's really good with her words. She's a really big finesser. And I remember when she came up with that line about when they made those candles. And she said, I'm going to send him my candle for Anthony. She called it coffee because I want to wake up to you every single morning. I said, dang, Cynthia, that's a wonderful line. I'm about to use that. That's a player line. If I'm really honest, that's a player line. And even here we find out in the end, Cynthia ends up saying that one of the reasons why she and Anthony aren't together is because she was emotionally unavailable. What the heck? Emotionally unavailable? That sounds like the dude in the end that says, it's not you, it's me. He does all this to chase you, to reel you in, and then only to get to the end, after he gets what he wants, he dumps you and say, well, it's not you, it's me. I'm just not ready for you. That's what Cynthia did. That's why I don't necessarily believe it's because she wanted Andre. If she wanted Andre, the only reason why she might have wanted Andre is because she felt that he would have been the bigger, not prize that she wants, but prize to devour. Cynthia came on here and said to us that with tears and everything, that she no longer wants to be the strong person, that she wants to show her softer side, that she wants to love a different kind of way. And man, I fell right into the trap. I believed the tears. She looked sincere. She might not have had the squeaky voice like Jeffrey did, but she did a lot of things similar to paint a picture of herself that in the end, she couldn't even live up to her own picture. There were so many signs that I missed with Cynthia. I'm going to talk about some of them that I missed, but that coffee thing was one of them. The other one that was a big one for me was, remember when Andre was actually going to eliminate Cynthia at the end, and Cynthia knew that she was possibly about to get eliminated. And Cynthia went into that date with Andre, and she finessed the hell out of Andre. And I was like, dang, that's a piece of work what Cynthia just did. But I gave her a pass because what I was thinking was maybe she's just doing this so she can stay with Anthony. I gave her a pass on that behavior, but I'm telling you, she finessed the hell out of Andre to get what she wanted, and that was to make it towards the end and to be able to stay on. I gave her a pass because I felt maybe she needed to do what she needed to do to be able to stay on the show. But now we find out in the end, she done dumped Anthony as well. There's another time I remember with Cynthia that I remember it, and once again, I gave it a pass, was when she was meeting, I think it was Anthony's sisters, and I think even when she was meeting, with Andre brought a male friend, I keep missing something. Anthony brought a male friend to meet the homies or meet the friends, meet the family. Andre brought his sister and his niece. And when Cynthia walked in, one of the things she said was, ooh, there's women here, and women can see through women. And I remember thinking when she said that, I said, why would you be worried about women seeing through you? If you're coming across as genuine, why is that a concern? But now, as I look back, she was afraid because she was finessing. She was playing a game, and she was afraid that those women would peep her out then. I didn't get it. I didn't peep her out. She finessed me. But there were a lot of parts about Cynthia. So if the number one MVP is not Cynthia, it's that soothsayer, but because she called all of these endings, all of them. She has even called the ending with Mercedes being the triangle, because I guarantee you that Mercedes and Mark Anthony are friends with benefits, which means there is a triangle. There's somebody else, whether with Mark Anthony or whatever, because they're pretty much clear. They're not monogamous or committed. They're good friends, all that other kind of stuff. So it is a triangle. That soothsayer predicted all of these outcomes, all of them. I mean, Cynthia had this man, Anthony, over here rubbing on them corns, them feet. I said, man, he is rubbing on them corns, right? And she told him, come a little higher. And then she told, remember she said to Anthony, you look like the man that would choke. And I'm thinking, what you talking about, Cynthia? Why would you tell that to Anthony? What, he's going to choke in the bedroom? She says, you look like a man that would choke in the bedroom. It was almost like she was kind of punking him a bit. And I was like, what? So now this goes back to, James. Her selection of James as her baby daddies, her selection of James when James was sitting there being all the way out the box when he was talking to Anthony and Andre and darn near cussing all them out. And remember, Cynthia sat there and said nothing. And it was odd, right? She didn't speak up as if it was bad behavior. It was like she didn't have a problem with it. She didn't have one problem with it. Another sign. She sat there as if she was comfortable with it. And because she had painted this picture that she and James were completely different people, but maybe they're not. Because when she sits here and talks to Anthony and all of us, she says one of the problems they ran into was when they came upon challenges, she didn't handle Anthony right. She didn't handle the situation right. She was probably being a James. She was handling it like she handled stuff with James. And I'm telling you, I fell for the finessing of Cynthia. But if I would have stuck to what I know, and that is treat people according to what they do and not what they say, I would have seen all the signs with Cynthia. But I didn't do that. I didn't even take my own advice. I listened to her. I believed her. I believed her story. And in the end, Cynthia isn't really trying to go where she says she's trying to go. What's the old saying? You can take the girl out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out the girl. Cynthia has developed a few skills to try to remove herself a little bit from that world, but her mindset, the way she's coming into relationships and the way she does, I think it's still there, y'all. I hate to say it. I hate to be here right now saying this, but all the signs point to that. All the signs point to that. And Anthony said, you know what? She even said, I'm not used to a man like Anthony. She ain't used to Anthony. She's not. Cynthia's used to the Jameses of the world. And even though she said she wants to go from there to a different type of man, nah, not at all. Not at all. This is why a lot of men don't even take chances on a girl like Cynthia. I thought this was going to be Cynthia's chance to elevate. I really thought it was. But this is why a lot of men will see Cynthia, know where she comes from, knows what she's been through, and they'll say, I don't want to take the chance on being the man that needs to elevate you because I don't know if you'll be ready for that altitude. There's a lot of people who want to elevate, but they're not ready for the altitude. And Anthony came around, and Anthony was really ready to elevate Cynthia, and Cynthia wasn't ready for the altitude. Cynthia was not ready for the altitude. And I think Anthony knew it. I think Anthony really wanted to be with Mercedes initially, but Mercedes was pretty clear on that. She wasn't ready for that sort of settled down life with the kid and everything because, Mercedes knew that she was going to be going off to pilot school, and she knew that she's better suited for a relationship with friends with benefits for right now with Mark Anthony, which is kind of sounds like what they doing, friends with benefits. She knew she wasn't ready for the seriousness that Anthony was bringing to the table. But Cynthia decided she was going to go ahead and try to take a dip in that pond, even when they weren't kissing. Everybody keeps thinking it was Anthony who didn't want to kiss Cynthia. I don't think that was it. I'm figuring out that it was Cynthia. When Cynthia said, we're trying not to kiss because we said we don't want to kiss until we know who's each other's person. Because what Cynthia was doing was she didn't want to give any man the impression that she was locked in with anyone. Because it's the same thing. It's the mistake that Jeffrey made when Jeffrey kissed Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony marked his territory, and that turned off a lot of men, including Mario. And when Cynthia said she didn't want to kiss Anthony, she didn't want to kiss Anthony because she didn't want any man to take that and then back off of her. Cynthia, I don't know, Cynthia might have been the biggest game on this show this season. She might have been the biggest game on the show. Have any of you ever watched this show? It was called Unusual Suspects. It's an old movie. I don't know, maybe back in the 80s or something. But that's how that movie was like the guy who you thought was the victim in the whole show. Everybody was rooting for him or whatever. Ends up being he was the biggest villain of all. And he was just different the way he did it. Everybody was out front, like the Jeffrey's out front. Morgan is out front. And Cynthia was low key. I think I might say that she one of the biggest villains on this season, because let me tell you, she got me good. And let's not forget that soothsayer with Cynthia. When that soothsayer said, in the end, you are going to choose yourself. And I was even confused then, because I was thinking, why? What's Anthony going to do to her that she would have to choose herself? And in the end, that soothsayer was right. I think the only reason she didn't even get Andre is because Andre was more attracted to Jeffrey. I really believe Andre was looking for arm candy. Andre is out here in the Forbes world, hobnobbing, probably doing all kind of fancy events because he's got money. And Andre was looking for a woman that could be on his arm, an arm candy, and someone that he could lust after and he could sleep with. I think Andre knew from the beginning that Cynthia's game was way different from Jeffrey's game. Cynthia's game was way different from Jeffrey's game. In fact, when Cynthia and Andre, when they were meeting the family, one of the things Cynthia said why she knew Andre wasn't going to pick her was because she said, I think Andre is a little bit afraid of me because Andre's going to have to do things I don't think he's comfortable with doing. And I think what she was saying was probably, correct in a way. I thought at the time she thought that Andre was going to have to step up and be a more responsible person and all this other kind of stuff. But come to find out, I'm now starting to realize is that Andre knew that Cynthia was one of the biggest game players on the show. And so Andre was going after was the lust with Jeffrey. I think Andre lusted after Jeffrey sexually. I don't think Andre had that sort of sexual connection with Cynthia as much. I think Jeffrey had the look that Andre likes. She could be the arm candy. She dresses the way that Andre likes. Jeffrey actually dresses very sort of not revealing, but very sexual. And I think Andre liked that. She would have fit in world. But what Andre wouldn't like about Jeffrey is that long-term taking care of three baby daddies, three kids with two baby daddies. He didn't want that. But he did want the sexual relationship, and he wanted, I think, sort of arm candy. And I don't think Cynthia fit the bill on either one of those. That's why I don't think he chose Cynthia, and I don't think he would have chose Cynthia. I don't think Cynthia was ever his number one. Absolutely not. And I don't even think that Cynthia necessarily would have wanted to be with Andre long term. I don't. I think she was attracted to him because he's kind of like James. Gold chains, flashy, all this other kind of stuff. I think she was attracted to that. But do I think Cynthia was really serious about really being with Andre? No. Because I think it's the same thing. Would Andre would have wanted to be with Cynthia with two kids and a father like James? No. Cynthia knew that. Cynthia was just out here running game, trying to take down the biggest fish that she could. And at the time on the show, Andre was one of the big fish. Andre was a big fish, and that's why Cynthia wanted to take him down. I do. I think she went after the big fish. And it turned out that low key, Anthony is a big fish because Anthony had a lot of women that liked him. So if you think back to who Cynthia put her eyes upon, she put her eyes on the two men that had the most women who wanted them, which was Andre had several women that wanted to go out with him. And then you had Anthony had several women. And those are the two men that Cynthia actually went after. She went after the high prize men because Anthony was a man that a lot of women would have wanted to even be with. I'm telling you, I think she gets the biggest prize of all. And you know what? I think she got a little help. I think she got a little help from the editors because I remember another scene with Cynthia where it was the first time I saw her throw a little shade at Jeffrey. It was, well, it wasn't a little shade. It was a lot of shade. We saw the shade when she was meeting with Andre and Andre was going to eliminate with her. And she told Andre with full chest bravado, I got the best choices, but I don't think you got the best choices. Do you remember when Cynthia said that with her chest? I gave her a pass then too, because you know what? It was right. I don't think Jeffrey is a prize, but the bravado that Cynthia said it with, I got the best choices. That's what she said. I got the best choices because I'm picking between you and I'm picking between you and Anthony, but you don't have the best choices. And she says, I don't even understand how you confused, how you could pick Jeffrey over me, how you don't see I'm a bigger and better catch than Jeffrey. I'm telling you, Cynthia was low key, and she really wasn't even low key. I just missed it. But if you really paid attention to all these little moments and you put them all together, we could have seen it. Some of you picked up on it, I'm sure. Some people probably out there picked up on it from day one, day two, whatever. But I'm going to tell you, she got me, y'all. She got me. And she even continued to the very end. She said she's going to go back. She's going to work on herself because she wants to become the best woman for Anthony. Girl, get out of here. The game is over. You can come out of character. You can come out of character and go on back to your real life because the game is over. There ain't going to be no way you're going to get with Anthony. No way at all. Because like I said, the life that Anthony lives up here, she ain't ready for that altitude. She is not ready for that altitude at all. But I got to tell you, I enjoyed the season. I don't care how much I got scammed by Cynthia, how much I got duped, how much I got played by Cynthia. I enjoyed the season. It was a roller coaster. It was a psychological thriller. In the end, the only people I ended up liking in the end was, be honest with you, was Sue Ann. I respect Blake. Who else? Marcia. I still like Marcia. I still like Mercedes. Mercedes ended up being her truth. I was like the fact that Mercedes says, I don't want to be with you or Mark Anthony, but we can be friends with benefits. I'm good with that. Other than that, I mean, boy, I've been gone, like I said, a 180, gone from liking you to not liking you to whatever else. But anyway, what a great season. Be sure to watch my other videos. Put a ring on it here, and also the link to the No Romance Without Finance with, I'm going to be going over a Corvaya theme. Be sure to watch that. Talk to y'all later. Bye.